It is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. Special post-game edition after the Rams game, 36-19. The Browns lose. It's brought to you locally by our friends at Smiley One in Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, give me your instant feedback on this game.
Joe Flacco can throw. That we learned, but this team can't do much of anything right now. The defense was awful at best. Matthew Stafford pretty much had his way all afternoon. Losing Amari Cooper was pretty significant. He's got a concussion, and they're in trouble. They really are in trouble because, I feel like they're in really big trouble right now, Andy.
Yeah, I don't. And I just think that they're going to have trouble again next week against Jacksonville. They're a 60% team of chance of making the playoffs. Now, are they in big trouble about winning the Super Bowl? Yeah, probably. I'll buy that. But I still think that they're in a good spot to make the playoffs. You got Chicago. You've got the Jets and the Bengals still on the schedule. So I still think the playoffs are a real thing for this team. I think they finally found a guy that can throw the ball down the field. I think that they actually have a halfway decent quarterback right now. And, if he doesn't turn it over, and I don't know, maybe he might be tired after this game and he might run out of gas, and maybe he was on adrenaline for his first game. If that's what you want to look at it. Okay. I think Flacco played okay. I think he gave us some hope, more hope from the quarterback spot than we've seen. I'm more hope than DTR, more hope than PJ Walker. And I'll be honest with you, a little bit more hope than Deshaun Watson's given us this season too. So I think the quarterback spot's there. I thought the offensive line played well until the end of the game when they gave up 2 sacks. And I'm not giving up on this team right now. It's a long trip out west. They have a couple of winnable games down the stretch. Let's see if they can put this thing together. I don't think Myles Garrett is anywhere near healthy. That's another issue. There are issues there, but I still haven't lost faith in this team. I think they can make the playoffs.
I think they're in big trouble because of tiebreakers. They need, right now as we have this conversation, the NFL, and this is straight from the NFL. I got people texting me, oh, they're the 6th seed. No, they're not. According to the NFL, Steelers, Colts, Browns, all at 7-5, have the Browns as the 7th seed. Pittsburgh is 5, Indianapolis at 6. That's from the NFL. That's not me. Right. So I'm going to go by what the league is saying. So that being said, that means that they're losing tiebreakers right now, Andy. So looking at the schedule.
Yeah, but today was not a horrible tiebreaker game because it was an NFC game against the Rams.
Come out. Let me finish.
Go. Yeah, finish.
Well, you cut me off. That's why I didn't finish. So
finish.
By tiebreakers, they're in trouble. Jacksonville's probably a loss next week. That's an AFC game. That means that they have to win the final 3. The Chicago game doesn't even matter. They have to win the final 3 games. They have to beat Houston, the Jets, and the Bengals because those are AFC games. This is setting up to be 2007 all over again, where the Browns are looking at a 10-win season, assuming that they can do enough to actually win 3 more games this year. And I have serious reservations that that's even a possibility at this point. But let's just assume that it is. They are in trouble of not winning the right 10 games on the schedule. That's my concern, right? Because Houston's going to be a dogfight there. So let's say they lose to the Texans, but they beat the Bears. This goes back to 2007. They beat the 49ers, but lost to the Bengals. So I'm concerned about the tiebreaker situations right now. And 10 wins might not get the Browns in the playoffs because all of a sudden this AFC picture is extremely crowded. The Texans are 7-5, and on the outside looking in, Denver is now 6-6, who has the head-to-head over the Browns, and then Buffalo is also 6-6.
So I'll give you the percentage game if you want to play it. If the Browns win their last 3, this is according to the New York Times. If the Browns win they could lose Jags and Bears. They could lose both those games. According to the New York Times, the Browns sit at a 97% chance to make the playoffs. If they win the last 3 games, Texans, Jets, and Bengals, they'll throw the Bears in there. Say they win their last 4, they're 99%. And that's with them losing to the Jags next week. So if they would win their last 4 games, but then again, you're asking for a 4-game winning streak from a team that traditionally can't do that. But you're right. If they start losing games to the AFC teams, and let's just say I'll throw the Texans in there. Things get real weird if they lose to the Jaguars, beat the Bears, lose at the Texans, and then beat the Jets and Bengals. That's an 83% chance, and that takes you back to the scenario you were saying. But they still have destiny in their own hands if they want it. It's up to them.
The problem is you can't have fourth quarter meltdowns like they had Sunday afternoon in Los Angeles. You had penalties, you had an interception, you had a missed PAT, a safety was thrown in there just to kind of ice the cake, even though the game was over at that point. But I mean that was quite the meltdown. And hey, Joe Flacco, big part of the Browns' last 2 fourth quarter meltdowns. He helped complete.
Yeah, I'm not ripping Joe Flacco today, Daryl. I mean, I hear you what you're saying. I'm not ripping him. I mean, the guy's been here for a week.
I'm just having some fun with the situation and how really messed up it is. He helped the Browns achieve the first meltdown as a member of the Jets, and then today he participated in another. I'm not blaming Joe Flacco. I'm just having some fun with the fact that the last 2 times the Browns have bleeped the bed in the fourth quarter, he was on the field. Once is the opposition, and then Sunday afternoon, he was the Browns quarterback. He threw the ball too much, though. I'm sorry.
Well, it's the same thing we've seen the last couple of weeks. They throw over 40 every time. They need to run the ball a little more.
Here's my instant takeaway. Joe Flacco is the perfect Paul DeBodesta, Kevin Stefanski quarterback.
That might be true. I'll give you that. I just don't.
He'll just throw it 50 times a game.
So the whole notion, Daryl, the whole notion of passing the ball to set up the run. And I looked at Jamal White in the fourth quarter, and I'm like, dude, I go, is this what this is? Is this using the pass to set up the run late in the game? And then when they did set up the run, they put Joe in a crappy spot where he did end up throwing the interception. I don't get it. I got to tell you, I'm super irked about that 5-yard penalty late in the game. That was garbage. And I give Kevin credit. There was a part of me that wanted Kevin to go out there during the postgame press conference and just obliterate the officials for that. That call was garbage at that point in the game. Just complete garbage. And Kevin came back and said, well, look, it's because of what's going on with Philadelphia and blah, 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 but we don't teach our guys to do that. You know what? I wish Kevin would have taken the fine. I think Browns fans would appreciate him if he did it. You know what? Go out there and say the ref sucked. That was a horse crap call.
Yeah,
it was. Now, I mean, the Browns have been benefactors of bad calls all season. Go back. You can chalk up the whole Indianapolis win to the referees. So I'll look at that way. But, I mean, just one time I want Kevin to go out there and take a fine. Just take a fine so the fans know you're pissed. I get it. I understand it. But they want to see that Kevin's got a heart. I think that's part of the problem too.
Never going to happen. But the play you referenced in came with 2:37 remaining. It was 3rd and inches, and then they call that at the own 35, moves it back to the 30 to make it 3rd and 6. And then Flacco couldn't complete passes on 3rd and 4th down. The biggest problem that I have, Andy, is his decision to go for it with 2.5 minutes to play, 4th and 5.5 or whatever, right?
Right.
Instead of punting in that situation with 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning in your pocket.
Right,
So
basically 4.
That's 4 timeouts at your disposal there, right? So you could have gotten the ball back with 2 minutes to go, assuming your defense could do their job and get that quick 3 and out. And that's one area where the Browns defense excels this season, is getting 3 and outs. They lead the NFL in that. But what happened to trusting your defense? How much do you, let me ask you this. How much do you think that Matthew Stafford, throwing for 279 yards, completing, nearly 70% of his passes again, played into Kevin Stefanski going full emotional desperation in that situation and going for it there on 4th? Because I think that's where it, and I agree with you. The Ethan Posick flag was complete BS. It was garbage. It totally screwed the Browns, right? And changed the dynamic of that situation. That said, Kevin ended the game when he went for it on 4th and 5, and the pass to David Njoku got broken up, and that gave the Rams the football at their own 30. And what do they do? Quickly, 30 yards, boom, touchdown. That's your game, set, match right there.
I don't disagree, Daryl. I kind of wish he would have. When it went back to 3rd and 6, he probably should have punted with 4. But maybe he's worried. There are 2 things that I'm trying to think at this. first of all, you didn't have Denzel Ward. Your secondary is getting torched left and right today. I mean, and since game 10, they're giving up more yards per carry too on the ground. And then there are big plays they're not making from the secondary that they would be maybe if Denzel was out there.
Right.
The other thing is, Daryl, I think he got nervous and they started chasing the point. That's what it was right there. They chased the one stupid point.
Yeah.
And when he missed the extra point, I think it kind of ran down their legs.
Yeah, I mean, and look, let's Dustin Hopkins has been very reliable this season. I mean, he has exceeded my expectations and then some, but that critical missed PAT that would have tied the game at 20 instead, it kept the Rams in front at 20-19. That was a pretty big deal at that point. But even then, Andy, I was saying in my head, they're fine. A field goal, the defense is going to do what they do typically do in the fourth quarter, going to shut them down. Browns at least are going to get a field goal drive. They're leaving there 22-20, right?
Right.
I did not have the Joe Flacco punt, by the way. How about John Johnson III? Remember him coming up?
Oh, that's all I can think of. Here we go. Former Brown comes to, it's like watching the Indians throughout your whole life. Well, how many ex-Indians have torched the franchise?
Yeah.
How often does that happen?
And by the way, JJ3 counts for like nearly $9 million on the salary cap next year for the Browns too.
So wait, you're saying we paid ourselves to get beat today? Is that
yes. Yes. And you paid yourself next year to get beat today too. But I mean, just that whole fourth quarter, Andy, was just a complete meltdown. And that's why I think Kevin lost confidence in the defense Sunday. I really do. Without Denzel, Myles Garrett, by the way, did he even play today aside from getting his helmet tangled? And I'm not being critical of Myles. God bless him for trying to go out there. But he was ineffectual for the second straight week in a row. I mean,
Daryl, here's my question for you. What have defenses figured out against the Browns since week 10?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm sorry, offenses. What have offenses found out against?
No, I knew what you meant. I don't know, but they're attacking the middle of the defense now, both layers, both right up front at the point of attack in the trenches, Andy, and then over the top. We saw Stafford do it on the 70-yard touchdown, and they're getting beat. By the way, Mike Ford Jr., woof. Real bad day for 28. Real bad day. They missed Denzel. So for the folks that, think the Browns should get rid of Denzel Ward crowd, you're seeing why the Browns can't afford to ever get rid of Denzel Ward.
No, we just got to hope Denzel can get healthy.
I mean, because it's worth the 2 to 4 games he misses every season to have him for the balance, right? I mean, but man, they're missing him in the secondary, and for the second straight week, they just completely got blown up again. And I'm really concerned right now that and this is part of my, what I was thinking in my opening comments of why I'm so concerned that this season is starting to slip away. Mm-hmm. Because this is 2 straight weeks where, look, Joe Flacco was an upgrade from DTR. Let's acknowledge that, right? And honestly, even though Kevin Stefanski wouldn't answer the question after the game, Joe Flacco should start the rest of the season as long as he's healthy. Like, don't need to see DTR, don't need to see PJ Walker for the rest of the year, okay? And let's light church candles that actually happens, because Joe Flacco can at least throw the football. Like, he can at least throw the ball. That all being said, though, it's not good enough. They're beat up. They lost Amari Cooper today. And he's, I guess, got a concussion, according to Kevin Stefanski, or is in concussion protocol. So Elijah Moore, 12 targets, 4 catches. Now, granted, he had a couple of real nice catches, including the butt cheek catch on the sideline that, got upheld, right?
What was up with the ref, man?
2 cheeks one cheek equals 2 feet, Andy. Come on.
Yeah, but it was kind of another horse crap call was the one where, first of all, because we were looking at it, like, I'm not sure why the Browns challenged the play. What they probably should have challenged was the fumble play where they said forward progress was stopped, and that was that looked like a fumble. If they would have challenged that play, They may have had a first down.
But I'm trying. But that if that was blown dead, I don't think you can challenge it.
Well,
I'm
they
trying.
had said forward
If
progress had stopped.
right, if the play is blown dead,
Okay.
you can't challenge. That's not. You can't challenge that. That is the question though.
I'll
Was
buy
that
that.
play
But the
actually
ref,
blown dead?
came back, it was all snarky. It was like, it was clearly a
Yeah.
catch. I'm like,
Wow.
you know what? Just shut up and call the game. It's
I
bad
mean,
enough. I'm trying to sit here and defend referees left and right. But I mean,
you're smoking them today. Give Sean McVay credit.
clearly it was a
Njoku
catch.
had a great catch on the sideline, and he saw that Njoku touched 2 blades of artificial white, painted white turf there, and got a big play by Njoku overturned. That was, I think,
That was
another
huge.
moment in that game that kind of turned the tide or helped keep the tide turned in the Rams' favor. But yeah, I mean, it is. I think that it's frustrating in the sense that, Andy, this is 2 straight games now that the Browns have lost, that they had a chance to win, despite all the stuff that they messed up in the game, and they just they're not doing enough to win these games down the stretch, and things that really worked in their favor early in the season, especially defensively, are not working now, and the defense is starting to show its wear and tear. Um, and that's why my confidence is waning in their ability to win, to make it to the playoffs. Like these last 2 games have been a painful struggle to watch, right? They were a
Right.
painful struggle for the Browns to play, and they came up short. And I don't think that they're going to beat the Jacksonvilles of the world. I don't think that they're going to be good enough to beat the Houstons of the world. And that's what's going to keep them out of the playoffs. And that is why now my confidence is really, really shaken, because the things that they did well early in the season, right? The things that they could lean on early in the season, combined with the injuries that are piling up, and the fact that Myles Garrett has been the invisible man the last 2 weeks, playing with one arm. Okay. Denzel Ward has been out. Amari Cooper is now banged up, and we don't know about his availability now. Marquise Goodwin's been out a couple of weeks now with a concussion. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and let's not forget, Cooper played with the rib injury, because originally I think a lot of people thought it was a rib injury. He got hit in the ribs, or on that drop, that third down drop. I think I forget who it was. One of the folks that was out in LA covering the Browns, posted on X, that Joe Flacco hit Amari Cooper in the wrong spot, hit him right in the ribs with the football, because of the pain right on that right side. So I'll start feeling better about this if Myles Garrett gets healthier and shows signs of life again, and if Amari Cooper is healthy again, if Denzel Ward comes back next week and is healthy, see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I think that we're at a point now where they have taken all of these blows with these injuries, and they are now at a point where so many key pieces are hurt that they can't overcome it. And that is why my confidence right now is so shaken with such a very tight playoff race. They very well may scratch out 3 wins down the stretch. But I'm telling you, Andy, it better be against 3 AFC teams,
Right.
because an NFC win, while it might help the overall win total, it's not going to help the tiebreakers. And that's where the Browns are coming up short. Because again, as we talked, the NFL lists them as the number 7 seed. They beat the Colts, and they have the same records, and it's a 3-way tie. So the tie-breaking scenarios are a little different in a 3-way tie.
Yeah. I just don't want to be on the outside looking in. You're right.
Actually,
All right, Daryl,
it's a 4-way tie. I'm wrong. It's a 4-way tie, because on the outside looking in at 7-5 are those Houston Texans. So I'm actually, it is a 4-way tie, which again, that changes those tie-breaking scenarios.
Amen, brother. All right, for Meredith Kane, thanks for listening today. We appreciate you. It has been the post-game report. The Browns fall to the Rams 36-19. They may have a quarterback, but they may have other issues that are going on, and we'll talk about those throughout the week. It is always game day in Cleveland.